Someday you will die, but I'll be close behind. Follow you into the dark, the blinding light. What is going on with my hair? Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a VeVe, OMI, DEFFINITY, DEVVE, daCat, SHIRO, not SHIRO, FIAS update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. For not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, especially that super thanks button down below. Super chats down below as well. Cheers, mates. Okay. Protein shake. Good. I've eaten most of my calories within a 7-hour period today. I'll take that. New sales of VeVe grails, OMI, DEFFINITY, daCat. Okay, so we do have that. We do have news from Charles Hoskinson. I don't know where was it on Spaces? People are saying this was from today, March 30th, and we have one more day to go in March. And so it's today, tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the episode 98, I think, of OMI is My Homie. And then I got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow. I have the OMI Homie show, which we might cut a little early, might do an hour-ish. And then I have the Daredevil Born Again. Episode 2 comes out tomorrow at 9, so I'm going to watch that. And then the Mario movie at midnight. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Charles Hoskinson launches Midnight. Privacy-centric blockchain goes live. Privacy network structure and technical foundation. Hoskinson describes Midnight as representing 4th-generation blockchain innovation with emphasis on confidential transactions and tokenized real-world assets. Charles Hoskinson identified gaps in existing blockchain models that the new network addresses. The platform employs a unique dual-layer ledger, allowing simultaneous public and private data within individual transactions. Zero knowledge of cryptographic proofs form the core privacy mechanism, enabling users to reveal specific information while keeping other details confidential. This approach maintains regulatory compliance without sacrificing transaction privacy. Hoskinson positioned this balance as essential for institutional participation in blockchain ecosystems. The network introduces Compact, a specialized programming language designed specifically for privacy applicant development. Charles Hoskinson aims to lower complexity barriers that typically challenge developers working with privacy protocols. The tool's strategy facilitates ecosystem growth by making privacy features accessible without extensive cryptography knowledge. And let's not forget who they are partnered with. Bloomsbury Money. Let's go. Zombie says first. Zombie says, yo, yo, yo. Hey, hey, hey. Booth says, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on, Booth? I like that you're starting to stream. I think it is great. You look taller on camera than you do in your profile picture. Okay. Let us continue. Actually, let me go in and get this bread real quick. Somebody gave me a, oh my gosh. Give me one second. I have to respond to my friend here real quick. She texted, do you think I'm socially awkward? Not really. You seem pretty cool to me. Like, you'd be popular in high school, cool. The type of cool. I feel like socially awkward people wouldn't be popular. I feel like I'm going in. Why do you think you're socially awkward? I don't. Okay. All right. Sorry. I should save this for later. Hold on. Let me count my breath. Let me count my checks. Flex on flex on flex. 6'3", small. Oh, damn. Damn, you really tall. You really tall. Are we looking at cryptocurrency bear market until we hit the next halving? Halving doesn't mean anything anymore. But yeah, we could. It could line up that way. Most likely it's just going to be, who was it before that was mentioning that they think lowered rates could be a thing? All right, let's find it. No, Lummis, Crypto Zero, no, privacy department, U.S. Department, no, that's not it. 101, there's ducks near me. I swear this is like a thing that I was looking at before where it looked like it was, they expected the Fed to cut rates. I don't know where I saw it, but I did see it. It's not here. All right. Anyway, some people are expecting the Fed now to be able to cut rates. So maybe if they do that, we need the war in Iran to stop, though, and honestly, I don't expect it to. There's something known as the Pentagon Pizza Index, where it's everyone that tracks it, they can kind of tell when things are going to pop off at Washington, because all they have to do is Google how busy the pizzerias are around the Pentagon. And if they're busy at times where you wouldn't normally be busy, then there's a lot of pizza going to the Pentagon, which means they're late and they have to, stuff is going down. And it's generally very accurate. Now there is a, oh God, what's it called? It's the Deployed Dancer Index. I don't know exactly what to call it. You now have strippers on TikTok that are making videos saying like, yeah, I've been getting all of these soldiers spending all of their money because they're deploying next week. And it is every single one of them. It's like, so I generally don't follow strippers on TikTok. Stormy G is really cool. I don't know if she was ever a stripper though. Maybe I don't know what she did, but she did something in that, or maybe like an OnlyFans, or she was a model. I don't know. Anyway, but I'm on Military Talk because that's what I was, I guess. And one of the things that came up was this one chick. She had like rainbow eyeliner or whatever, and she's like, yeah, I'm this stripper at this place, we're right next to this base, and there's been a bunch of soldiers coming in and be like, I'm deploying next week, and they're spending like hundreds of dollars like every time they come, which you generally don't make a lot of money in the military. Like, you make nothing. It is peanuts that you like, unless you're like an officer that's been there for a while, and even then it's still not a lot. I mean, you get perks though, right? You get decent perks. Long story short, we're gonna have a bunch of boots on the ground in the next couple of weeks. I don't like that because we're gonna be at war again, like forever. Like this is like no different from the Bush and Obama administration. Like it is in many other aspects, but as far as war goes, like Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says broker attempted large defense stock investments weeks before U.S. attacked Iran. There's other stuff here as well. I could have sworn there was other things having to do with the Strait of Hormuz, but now I'm not finding it. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. will take control of the Strait of Hormuz. There will be freedom of navigation. Basically saying that whether U.S. ships escort the ships or other ships escort the ships that are going in, I don't know when that war ends, but I was going to say you probably need that to end. The market seems to want to believe that it'll end soon because everyone's been talking about it. Like, yeah, just have to wait for this to end. And granted, it's been like 4 weeks, right? It hasn't been like this huge 8-year war yet. But weeks turn into months, months turn into year, and it's very easy to be like, going from, yeah, it's just a couple weeks, it's a couple months, hasn't been years, it's been 1 quarter, to like, okay, this is normal. Yeah, I've been at war for about half a year, and yeah, there's just going to be 1 deployment, but now there's going to be multiple. Now that, yeah, especially because, listen, for better or worse, most people in the military want to deploy. Why? family separation pay, hazard pay, hostile fire pay, eminent danger pay, tax-free pay. Buku dollars on deployment. You ain't paying for shit. You put your stuff in storage and you rake all that in. You pay whatever your storage unit is. So yeah, that's hold on, let me put those calories in my daily notes. Where are we here? Was it 2210? 30 grams of protein, 170 calories. So I'm at 197 grams of protein, 1,865 calories. Not too shabby. Yeah, most of the military wants to deploy. So you're going to have the commanders that are going to be like, yeah, they like to. You ever run into someone, and I'm like this, you know, but you ever run into someone that says like, yeah, I worked 84 hours last week, really grinding the belt, you know, burning that midnight oil, because I don't know, they're venting or they want people to be impressed. And again, I've done that too, but just to kind of, I've only done it really to tell people like, hey, here's why I'm not getting back to your messages because I'm doing this. But I feel like you all know who I'm talking about. Like you all know like those types of people, like, yeah, work this many hours. There are commanders like that, base commanders, yeah, you know, we're like 50% deployed now, meaning that out of all the personnel that's employed on their base, 50% of them are gone. Like they are deployed. And the reason they like to say that is because if the operations and what really gets fucked is us, because like the enlisted that go in and keep the base running, most of the work, like of the actual like physical stuff that's worked through there, at least at aerial ports, is done by E1s through E4, like E4s and below, senior airmen and below. That's where most like the actual physical work is done. Then you have, so you have the commanders that are like, yeah, you know, we're moving a ton of car, we're moving a ton of this, bullets, beans, bombs, all of this shit, and we're doing it at 50% deployed, and it makes them look good. We don't get any of that fucking credit. It's the brass, the commanders that get that credit, even though we want to fucking kill ourselves. Like I feel like I'm venting here. Fair point, but I just, those operations where you're not deployed, you're stateside, and you still have no days off at 12-hour shifts. I I hated some of my time in the military, but I miss it every day. It is the strangest thing that you'll never understand unless you were in, whereas like I hated a lot of my time there, but I miss it every day. Anyway, at some point, this war will become normal, and then people will say, "Oh yeah, I've been at war with Iran for a while." Like, I think the war in Afghanistan, there was a kid that I was deployed with that his dad was in the military when they first went to Afghanistan, and is like, Jesus. And now his kid is, granted, different theater, right? They were OEF, we were OIR. No, they were OIR, we are OEF. I keep mixing those two up. I forget which one. I think I have, pretty sure it's Enduring Freedom, but it could be Inherent Resolve. It could be both. I don't know. Long story short, different campaigns, different locations, but still the same, you know, global war on terror, Enduring Freedom, Inherent Resolve, all that. But I have the medals somewhere. But yeah, that's the other thing. You know, you have these men and women, but you know, teenagers that just want to serve their country, and they're like, I'm ready, and they want to prove themselves, and they want to go, and they want to, and I feel like a good amount of them don't really. I feel like it's hard for them to think of the long-term consequences before they go, and then they go, it's like, oh, okay, this is happening. Okay, this is what's going on. Okay, this is real. This isn't, you know, like a Transformers movie. This is real stuff. All this to say that if this war continues to drag on and it becomes normal for everyone, like, yeah, get ready for that Iran deployment. or in support of that. I mean, you could be in any of the states near there. You can be Ali Al Salem, Kuwait. You could be in Cupcake Land. You could be in Qatar. You could be in, I don't know if we have Erbil or Al Assad or Al Taqaidam anymore. I assume that some of those airfields have been closed down. I think Erbil we still have. But yeah, we're all over there. And if it becomes a longer term war, you know, you have to finance that war. And if it were any other president, they would have cut rates by now, because, you know, the long end of the treasury curve, you know, the rates are way too high, and we have what, 39 trillion in debt, and there's like what, 2 trillion or like $1.5 trillion in interest, and that's about to become 2 trillion. Like you're paying over $500 billion in interest if the interest rates get up to where they're continuing to go, where if you cut rates, you can combat that, but they're just not doing that. So this war is going to get very expensive very quickly. People are already paying more at the pumps. I don't know what it's going to be like at the grocery store, but again, at the pumps, like there, and I assume a multivariate analysis has been done here, like already. I haven't taken a look at those, but if a lot of people maybe weren't living paycheck to paycheck, but they're starting to, or they're like, hey, we have to tighten the belt a little bit because things are getting more expensive and inflation is outpacing the wage increase that we're getting, then you have, you know, people like that are not buying crypto. Like you need to have liquidity injected, you need to have the rates lowered, and you need to have the markets run. But we're just mostly not getting that. Stock market lost 1.3 trillion today. They're at the lowest point that they've been at, the stock market, in 9 months. Democrats are loving it because they won't. I mean, the Republicans are going to get slaughtered in midterms if this keeps up for much longer. People tend to have a short memory. So you could say, like, well, you know what, July, August, September, October, you know, the 4 months leading up to it, it could be booming. And then people would forget the vicissitudes of the past, as long as the recent history in those 4 months are doing really well. Then people will be like, yeah, you know, what Trump's doing is working. And I believe a lot of what he's doing is great for the long term, but in the short term, it is not. I mean, again, that doesn't change the long term thesis of it, but short term, yeah, a lot of people not having fun. Crypto hasn't had I mean, Bitcoin has, and ETH has a little bit, you know, it's gone back up. You know, we saw it in last October to 126K and like 4K. Now they're back down to under 2K and like 65K. It's like 67 now. But we haven't had an alt season, and we need that liquidity. So stocks are currently getting wrecked. Crypto's been getting wrecked. Collectibles seem to have been the only thing that's really jumped up. Now, on the you could make the argument where, well, yeah, on the Pokemon side, because it happens every 5 years. It happened in the 20th anniversary in conjunction with Pokemon Go, then the 25th anniversary in conjunction with the $1,200 checks and Logan Paul, you know, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande. They were all, you know, Pokemon crazy. And now it's the 30th anniversary. You have all these new games, the big golden auctions stuff happening, the drama with that, Kabuto King. But it's not just Pokemon. There's been sealed video games. A lot of collectibles in general have really hit mainstream. It's not just the kids or the kidults. It's a lot of people that are going in and throwing massive money at it. First editions of books, signed copies. Like there was a Ken Sugimori. It wasn't even a card. It's just art of. I think I have it here. I hope I have it here. Maybe I don't have it here. I do not have it here. But it was in my recent messages. Shoot. It was in my messages this morning, I think. I had responded to it. Yeah, the collectibles or Guru Collects 158,000 followers saying a one-of-one 1998 Pikachu illustration by Ken Sugimori, the original artist behind Pokemon, just sold for a record $600,000 at Heritage Auctions. This isn't even a card; it's the actual hand-drawn artwork from the early days of the franchise. Oh, it's Misty and Pikachu. And then this one is Dawn. The only true replacement for Misty. I hated Max, but May's not that much better. Why did this happen? Ken Sugimori has the most insane restrictions for an artist that I've ever. Right? Remember Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, where Qui-Gon Jinn's talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's just like, he's got more midichlorians in him than I've ever seen in a life form. It's possible that he was consumed by midichlorians. Ken Sugimori has the most restrictions of any artist I've ever seen in a life form. From Pokemon, Nintendo, Game Freak, every single one. And he signed less than 100 things. And any Pokemon card, whatever, pick first edition, pick unlimited, pick whatever grade. Let's say it's worth $100. Ken Sugimori's signature on it, $1,000. Honestly, it's probably worth a lot more just for his signature alone. Signature alone is probably worth more than $1,000. This sold for over $500,000. Now, granted, it's Misty and Pikachu, right? And it was from 1998. This one of Dawn, like, you know, this is in the 2000s, but after that, so it's a bit younger. 80,000. So yeah. It's clearly you have collectibles in general that are running, and we've seen some of that on VeVe with some of the special mints. We've seen that with some of the comics, like some of the S tier commons you were able to get for like $5. I don't think you can get an S tier I got very lucky, and I happen to get 5 Journey into Mystery 83 commons, first appearance Thor, from like $11 to $15. But generally, you can't get them for under 20. But you used to be able to get them for like $5, $8. And over the last 3 to 6 months, you've seen a big increase in that, and they'll go to 30. But again, that has to stop at some point. Like, nothing goes up forever. So at some point, you'll see X-Men #1, and you see Tales of Suspense, and you'll see all of these things back down at probably $10 or $11, or maybe even lower. Because there's only so, like, and Thor's great. You know, the Journey into Mystery 83. You know, I have like 5 of those commons. For the X-Men #1, I have like 4 of the rares. I never have like a ton of this stuff, but they're important pieces, so I get a few of them. I already have them. I don't really need any more, so I'm not buying these at the prices that they are. I mean, sometimes if some people post them for super low, you know, I'll take them. But you know, these are probably going to start going back down at some point, because again, it had a big run up. Now, a counter to that would be if, well, Travis, didn't we just get 700 new people last week? 738. Yeah, we did. Okay, well, what are those new people doing? Like, we've been getting a lot of new people in here, and you know, the collect chain, I hope we get self-custody by August. I don't know if we will or not. I know they want it in summer. That would be great. But there's no, we're probably not gonna get an update on that for a while. It's like, okay, well, what about, you know, going on NASDAQ? When's the last we heard about that? And okay, well, that's the other thing. We had a lot of buzz with that. You know, they had the initial letter of intent, and then they had 4 weeks ago now, like 26, 27 days. They had said, like, yeah, we're still going to do it. Both sides are committed. We just need a little more time. That was 4 weeks ago almost. I don't know when it's time to call time of death on these things. Maybe they're waiting for a better market. Like, if it's probably stopping with VeVe, because Orange Cloud has no they're going to want. I mean, they kind of need someone to do that because I don't know what they do today. Let's take a look. Where are we at? They are. Oh, they're actually over $1. They were I think 97 cents yesterday. They kind of flirt between that line. Yeah, they were 97 cents a couple times last week. If the negotiations were going well for ORKT, I would expect them to be a lot higher than they are. But they're not. They're fairly low. So again, in order to prevent a delisting of the stock, they need VeVe. So if this is not happening because it's been 27 days since we got an update, then it's probably on the VeVe side, if I had to guess. I don't know why. I don't know what they'd be waiting for. But it's usually not a great thing to see. Hey, we're going to do a reverse merger. We have the hard date of the 28th. Okay, delays happen, sure. They get delayed. They say like, hey, we're, and then no update in a month. So I understand that right now we're getting a lot of new people from people like Comics and Crypto, for people like Rising Star Larry, for Chillin' and Vibin' podcast, from people that are going out doing these bounties, for people that are going out and I think I've never withdrawn anything from that affiliate program, so I don't know how much money's in. I don't know how many people I've onboarded from the program. But it's a team effort for everyone that's doing it. And yeah, that can, I mean, again, 700 people last week or 738 is really good. And on average, it's over 250 people a week. There was an anomaly like 2 weeks ago where we had like 38 people, but aside from that, it's been a couple hundred per week. So I'm curious to see what it's going to be, this upcoming week, what, how many new people will be onboarded. And I see a lot of the Web3 crowd going in and they're all bullish on one thing now. It's IP. It can't just be vibes. People don't even want utility anymore. I mean, they want it, but they want something that's going to last, because for years they've had these people. It's like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. And they just can't survive like that. Like, there's an episode of Gilmore Girls where Lorelai can't afford to have Rory go to Chilton or Yale, like whatever it is. She couldn't get to the name, and Rory's like, "Well, scrimp. I can be on the Olympic scrimping team." And Lorelai's like, "Babe, we can't do it." Most other people in this bear market, they just couldn't survive it because they overextend themselves, do whatever. VeVe has done this flawlessly. But a lot of other people are very hungry for companies that, yeah, it's cool if they care about them. I don't even think these people care if the owners care about them. Thankfully, David and Dan do, but they just want what they invest in to survive. And so far, like almost nothing. Like, how many times has candy been bought and sold? Thankfully, now it's in the, I don't know if it's official yet, if it went through, but Pat Smith is very, very intelligent, very conscientious, very good at what he does. I do think he might need a creative person, like a creative team, but aside from that, he's like the best person that you want to have bought candy, or at least take control of the assets. I don't know what's happening with the platform. But yeah, conversation with him made me very bullish on the candy stuff. Devo Kyle, 37.73. Definity $2 this year. I'm gonna get some Definity. I don't know when. We'll listen to after. Meow meow meow. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna get more Definity. I don't know when. Thank you for the super chat. It's down 7% today, $1.6 million market cap. I should really stop buying VeVe NFTs and start buying more Definity. I mean, this is VeVe made $250,000 this month from the store, from the VeVe store. This is not including secondary market revenues, not including comics, the VeVe.comics.me. But they made $250,000 this month from the VeVe store, not including other stuff, not including for things on Whatnot. And that's what they grossed. So that's not going to be what they do every month. Some months will be less, some months will be higher. May is going to be insane probably for, Star Wars. I mean, that's not a lot though. $3 million a year, figure 20x multiple, $60 million valuation. If you were to get this reverse merger done and come out at $20 million market cap or valuation, yeah, buy the shit out of them. I just did the math, back of the napkin math, but yeah, they're worth a bunch more than that. If they were to come out at $100 million valuation, Wall Street might be like, on their first quarterly earnings report. So it depends on what they're going to be valued at. Definity though, Definity is doing a multiple of that. And their overhead is insanely low. The margins are insanely high. A lot of stuff is automated. Their Definity is making more. Their margins are better, but somehow the token is worth like a fraction. Like OMI token is valued at 20x almost of what Definity is. That is crazy to me. So either OMI is overvalued, which I don't think it is, or Definity is undervalued. It's one of those things are happening right now. I'm pretty sure Definity is way undervalued. I know it is. So $2 might be a lot for this year. At some point, yes, it'll go to several dollars. Unless the company gets bought out, in which case maybe they shelve the token, maybe they don't. Either way, the token holders would get paid out. Oh, my back. Yeah, my other back. Give me one sec. Sorry. Okay, very good, very good. I think $2 is a lot to expect for this year. We're at barely over a penny now. I'd say 20 to 50x, 20 to 50 cents. Probably fair. They just need people to know about it. They need the marketing. When is a good time to do that though? Like if you ask the community, oh yeah, market now, they would have said that 6 months ago, 12 months ago. Like people just want their bags to go up, and they're not taking into account what that would look like and the reality of marketing at the wrong times. People are very loose with other people's money. And that's why, I mean, you do see VeVe marketing, but that's why it's not a ton. And I think that's why you have Definity not doing a bunch of marketing now either. Also, I have a buddy of mine that should be coming on here. Give me a sec and I'll copy URL. There's the link. Come on anytime. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to some of these comments here. How's it a bear market right now? Because inflation's up. People are paying like $5 a gallon at the gas tank. and all the tokens are down. Most think we are because the debt and interest liquidity are stalling the cycle. Yeah, that's fair too. Let me get my boy Bren on here. Let me give the quote. Let's welcome our new friend at Bren Trades. Meow, meow, meow. Okay. Dude, when I played varsity b-ball in high school, I played a 7-footer. My forehead was at his elbow. Always was smaller b-baller because 6'3" is a guard. Good for you being so tall, though. Dimes, hey, Randy, do you think that VeVe found something shady with Orange Cloud and that's why things have stalled? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, clearly there's some reason why we were not able to move forward here. I don't know what that is, but we'll see. Because ownership compliance licenses and also public early bull cycle makes VeVe have soon volatility, or it might be like 12 months, man. Well, the point of doing a reverse merger like this is because you can do it a lot quicker. Because the general IPO takes 1 to 2 years. It takes a couple $1 million. But again, if it's not the right time, or if something were to happen that maybe made it stall, and that's possible too. Or end before VeVe goes public. You might be right. I hope you're right. Smart contract revenue is sticky. Licensing is sticky. Merger takey longy. Yeah, that's possible as well. Kuma, what's going on, Kuma? How you doing, fam? And what up, Randy and fam? Goal is still 100 million net worth by 2030. That'd be nice. I don't think that. I don't think that's going to happen. I'll settle for the low to mid 8 figures. I mean, I'd love to try to get 9 figures by then, but that's going to be really hard. If FIAS goes crazy, and no, it's not even going to matter. It might. I'd say if the FIAS company and DEVVE, if they went insane, I would say low 8 figures. Yeah, I'd say low 8 figures probably more realistic. We'll shoot for mid 8. I mean, we're going to shoot for the 100 mil. Yeah, that's just not. That's going to be very hard to do, and a lot of the risks I would have to take in order to do that would be. It probably wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. Grown accustomed to a certain lifestyle. And yeah, the things that I would have to do to try to attempt to try to do that, I just don't want to do. I like, again, the lifestyle I've been living pretty nice. Want to continue that. I would say low 8 figures is more realistic. Mid 8 figures is possible as well if a lot of things go really well. But I would say low 8 figures. Okay? So if you look at last bull cycle, it went to 58K. Last bull cycle went to 69, then retracted to like 14K. Because that cycle was done, then Bitcoin topped at 61. It's like, oh, okay, gotcha. I know what you mean. The fake out. Bitcoin reaches 126, dropped to 59.9. Looking at last cycle, you tell me what happens next. You dun, 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 dun. Soldier boy, I tell you. Dun, 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 dun. What's FIAS token get to this year? I wouldn't go by years. I would just go when the bull market happens, but we are not even at 1 cent. Over 10 cents. I mean, it's really only going to matter when, well, that scaled so quickly. DEVVE and FIAS scaling so quickly with what they're doing. Yeah. I would say, oh, my body. It depends if the token matches what the company's doing, which as of right now, no token has matched what the company's doing. At least for the ones I've been covering. Yeah, I'd say going above 10 cents is fairly reasonable. But if we have and that's really without a bull cycle. If we have a bull cycle, do a multiple of that, in my opinion. Bill Gardner saying, "What up? What up, Bill Gardner?" Who says, "You crack that soda, boy, crack that soup, man." Oh, good time, good time. Billy off vacay. He is. Just got back last night. I'm gonna clip the stream when you said S tier was $5. Yeah, there was S tier comics that were $5. Not that long, like 6 months ago. Boo saying, not that you're wrong, but that's a great point. Was O'Milly giving everyone love? Appreciate you giving love. So Kyle says Definity did $2 this year. I did kind of answer that before. It just seems like a lot, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be worth. Oh, let's say at some point, DMA Link reaches $1 million a month, because that's the goal. And let's say from then on, you expect 12 million a year. Let's do a 30x multiple, $360 million valuation at 1.6 million. All right, I'm sorry. I should do it by 178 million tokens. Yeah, I mean, if we get to $1 million revenue per month for them, then he's like, okay, if we do that for, let's say, 6 months or whatever, then it's like, oh, okay, in the next month you might even do more. And yeah, that is possible. Figuring a 30x multiple of the valuation of that, but again, like it would have to hit $1 million, have to sustain that for a while. We'll get, but yeah, I think it's possible. But I just this bear market is showing no signs of slowing down, so we're gonna have to wait. And it's possible that we don't get it this year. It's possible we don't get it until next year, and supposedly aliens are coming next year, so who knows. IP rules the cycle. Pump the bags. Well, yeah, we might see that as well. Crypto exchange. KuCoin pays CFTC $500,000 to end a civil case. That is nothing. Oh, I cannot add him to the studio. Brad, if you can hear me, it's only letting me edit the name, kick from studio, or ban from studio. Jamar 1987. What's up, Randy? What's going on, Jamar? How's it going? NP, private. Pump the bags of PV Vault. Roger that, Sergeant. Yeah, 10 plus waltz, that could be $1 million midterm. 100K each. I don't think Walt touched that. No, it was like 50 something. I mean, I think Walt goes, yeah, I think he goes crazy at some point. We'll see. And for FIAS, again, thanks for the super chat. Let's say 10 cents plus. Because what do you think there'll ever be any demand for Definity because of the utility that's with it? I've done multiple videos on this. You're just watching one of those. I was saying, nah, you're right. Bitcoin top 68K. I was reading TradingView, and so I was averaged out multiple exchanges. Bitcoin, because I think Binance went above 68 for Bitcoin slightly, not a lot over 68. I gotcha. All right, so we had Ben on here for a second, but his mic was derping up there. All right, let's see what DEVVE did today. Down about 0.5%, 2.5 cents, $2.3 million market cap. FIAS is down 2% to $1.1 million market cap. Let's see what daCat's doing. Down 0.5%, $2,300 in volume, $772,000 market cap. Shorty got low. OMI down 0.5% to 0.001166. I keep getting people asking to buy my ANA, so I'm actually going to take my ANA off because it's a sub 100 ANA. Oh, Khaki Gaijin's actually up there. So I'm taking mine off. Taking mine off at night. Oil prices hits 106 as Iran strikes more crude oil carriers. Jesus. Okay. Let's get to some of these things here. What do we got? We have the Bren. How's it going?
Hey, can you hear me, brother?
I can. How you doing?
Good. My bad. I was trying to join from my computer, and then it kept blocking my mic, so I tried to join from my phone.
That is strange, but I'm glad you could make it. I was there for like the first 20 minutes of the space, and I had a call I had to get on. Ben Trades, for everyone that does not know, has got about 22,000 followers over on X, and he is big in the VeFriends fam and just NFTs at large. Can you explain to me what your profile picture is?
Yeah. So, first of all, thanks for having me on, brother. It was cool.
Of course,
I connected yesterday. Yeah, and I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. I assume it is. You're kind of like, I can hear you, but the picture's cutting out. So if it is, obviously I'll come right back. But dude, I appreciate you having me on. My profile picture is as another NFT project called Good Vibes Club. I don't know if you know about that project.
I've heard
it's a project that came about actually. Yeah, it came about actually in 2025. It's one of the few NFT projects in the past few years that have actually done well in both growth and actually like the floor price, right? It minted out at like 0.0. First of all, I don't know too much about your background. I mean, what's your background in crypto and collectibles? I mean, seems like you have some stuff in VeVe, and are you like a physical collector mainly? Is that where you started? Or I mean, what's your journey in this whole collectible thing?
I started in high risk lending, giving out loans to business owners that had like 500 and 600 credits. So I got very good at determining who would pay back, like seeding through the bullshit. People are just like, oh, I need to, like people that I knew that were just shining knobs on the Titanic, they wouldn't pay back, or they were scammers or whatever, versus people that are just like, hey, yes, my credit is this way, but I just went through a divorce, or my credit card usage is high because I'm owed 180 grand over here, and I had to use my credit cards for materials because I needed the cash on hand to pay my workers. And it's like, okay, excuse. That's a perfectly reasonable reason. And I just got really good at discerning which businesses were good and who would pay back. So I made a bit of money with that, put a lot into Tesla because I like that they made everything. Give me one sec.
My bad. So yeah, if you could exit out this other one I have with the PFP. It was on my phone and I could barely hear you. I'll fix the PFP while you're talking. I apologize.
Okay, cool. We're good. So I liked Elon Musk a lot. I just liked the way he thought. It turns out having autism sometimes can be a big benefit, and it was to him. And I like the way that everyone, or I guess I dislike the way that everyone was using their dislike for him to shit on the company. And I was like, well, listen, yes, the company's not profitable, but okay, look at why. They're selling out every car that they're making, and it's just that they're taking those would-be profits and they're reinvesting it into these bigger gigafactories so they can put out more cars because they have so much demand there. So I was like, okay, I really like Wall Street got it completely wrong. And I just liked his journey. I liked what he was doing. Made money with that. I got a lot of my collecting roots really from Pokemon back in the day, and I started buying a bunch of Pokemon cards. I was in the game a little bit in 2017. The hype from Pokemon Go was kind of dying down, but it was still like you had that pump in 2016, and I bought in a little bit on the way down, kind of let it go for a little while, and then 2019, I was like, I really like a lot of these things. I was making a lot of money from the high risk lending, so I was like, all right, let me. These prices are very low compared to where they were in 2016, 2017. I don't know how long they're down here for. I don't know if we'll ever see them again, but the pop reports weren't going up like crazy, like first edition PSA 10 this. It was only increasing small amounts every year. So it's like, okay, these seem pretty safe. I found out some formulas on the eBay side where certain things would be valued at 5 to 8x times what others would, and I the formulas were there. They weren't mine. I just discovered them, and those were the patterns. And I made a fudge ton in Pokemon. And then when I was making, everyone was talking about the metaverse in 2020, and I was covering Earth2, and we were trying to figure out where Earth2's token would be on, like what blockchain, and it was teased that it would be on Go Chain. Mm-hmm. So I took a look at Go Chain, and I looked for a bunch of projects that had a massive amount of supply of tokens, but no, really not a lot of value there. And I saw OMI. I was like, okay, what's OMI? Is this it? And then I found out what VeVe was, and I was like, oh, this is huge. So I kind of pivoted toward VeVe. It was great in 2021, 2022. And then obviously, bear market came, and then you saw all of these projects just get destroyed. Like really a lot of VCs get destroyed too. Because in 2022 at NFT NYC, me and a couple friends we would get talked to, we'd get approached a lot. They're like, hey, I've seen you guys on YouTube. Can you give you like $1,000 to do a video on this project? And the project had I'll just make up a project. Let's say it's, Protein Pals, and the Protein Pals, they were a 10,000 PFP project. They didn't sell out, and they just wanted us to help sell them out. And it was, okay, well, what are your other revenues here? Like, aside from the selling out of this, what are your other plans for revenues? It's like, well, if you get certain mints of these or certain mints of certain traits, you can get into this Discord, mm-hmm. And then you can get the opportunity to buy some merch. I was like, if you're not bringing any revenue right now, you shouldn't really limit the amount of people who are actually going to bring in revenue. And that was the same story everywhere. And we could have made like 30 grand each that weekend from all these projects doing it, but we didn't want to do that to our audience that was saying like, hey, yeah, buy these things. And none of those people, except for I think Neopets, none of those projects are here right now. And we kind of saw it over the last few years that, and people are starting to get it now in like IP is king. Like you can't just have, a PFP project with vibes. And that's not a knock on the Good Vibes project. I'm sure they're doing other stuff in their business, but it can't just be a meme. Like it has to have a business attached to it. Yep. So that's why I really like VeFriends, because Gary Vaynerchuk is a beast. Yep. And he's just, anything he does, touches just turns to gold. So I like him a lot. I like VeVe a lot because they're the licenses they have, no other company has, nor will they ever. It's insane. I like Pudgy Penguins because they have have a bunch of Web2 peeps out there. Like they don't even know Pudgy Penguins is about crypto or NFTs or Pengu. They just like the GIFs, and it was like that's really interesting. So that's kind of where I'm at here.
Amazing, dude. And thank you for breaking down the journey. It seems like, like you said, you started in the physicals. So you started with the collectible world in general with eBay. So it was just a natural transition. I'm sure everybody was I remember everybody was in NFTs in 2020, 2021. You were probably like way ahead of the game, the average person, I'm sure, especially when you're talking about VeVe, which is literally like physical collectibles, but just like in the digital form, where NFTs were just pictures. I feel like the VeVe stuff were like actual 3D collectibles in a lot of ways. So I'm sure that
there's a couple of things that VeVe's done with FigPin. Like, so this one's of Colonel Sanders of KFC. This is just like their own logo.
Has a
And they've done stuff with
NFT?
Funko.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Does it have a corresponding NFT? Like the
Yeah, so there's for FigPin, they all have like a digital like thing. So what VeVe did is like, oh, you already have the digital serial numbers for your app. We could just take those serial numbers and make them into NFTs. So they did that with a couple of stuff. And I thought that was really cool. Dude,
that's amazing. So it seems like, you know, VeVe, which I want to pick your mind on because I didn't really get too much into VeVe, but from what I understand, that's the one Disney's on, right?
Yeah. Well, so, Disney's on a few. They were on Cryptoys, which I think they're Digitoys now. They'd rebranded. I think they were actually bought by either Abstract or Pudgy Penguins.
Yeah.
Which was great because now Pudgy Penguins shoulder to shoulder with Disney on that chain, which is awesome. Again, love Pudgy Penguins.
Yeah.
And then the
VeVe was original though?
VeVe was original what?
Was the original Disney NFT?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah. The first appearances of like everything from Disney is on VeVe. I think with the exception of Leia Skywalker on now Digitoys, and then there's I think a couple of things that are on Disney Pinnacle, which is on the Flow blockchain. There's a couple of first appearances on that, but aside from those, all of the rest of the first appearances are on VeVe.
Awesome. So it seems like in the physical world, like it's kind of if the first, even in the IP world, if that's the first card, then that's the quote unquote rookie card, right? So do you think in a world where Disney is probably inevitably going to make their own NFTs, like, you know, I assume make Disney NFTs, do you think the Mickey Mouse VeVe NFT, since it's original 10 years before the Disney ones come out, are valued as the, you know, higher because they're the original and that stands true? Or do you think that the NFTs from Disney itself that might have perks and all that stuff will be valued higher in 10, 20 years from now?
It's hard to say because you have, I don't know if it was Tops might have been beforehand, but it was Meji, Cardass, Blueback, Greenback, maybe Tops. Like there was like 5 or 6 Charizards before first edition Charizard, and even though some of those Charizards still hold weight and they're valuable, people really only care about the first edition Charizard because even though there's other iterations that came beforehand, other artworks, that is what people identify with. That's when it became popular. That's when it was printed by Wizards of the Coast. It had the one for the first edition on there. They knew it was going to go crazy. That corresponded with the games and the show. And so, yes, some of the actual first appearance of Charizard, they do fairly well. Others not so well. But it was that one. That one gets the big notoriety. That's like the Babe Ruth of it. That's Honus Wagner. So it's largely going to depend on what platform lasts, and then what's most popular. So you had the GOAT, Tom Brady, with Autograph.io that had this big utility for his NFTs. Like, come meet Tom Brady, come hang out with him, and my friend Lori wound up getting it, and it was awesome. She got to meet and hug Tom Brady. She got to hang out and talk to him, and she said he was really nice. It was really cool. But that platform failed, and it wasn't just him. There was Gronk, there was Tony Hawk, there was Simone Biles, there was a bunch of top athletes on there.
Wow.
But they just didn't get that audience, and it wound up failing. So Candy has been bought and sold 6 times. Mm-hmm. Now Tad Smith, he'll be on the podcast at some point. We talked the other day. He didn't want to do a podcast until the deal actually went through, and it might have now. I don't know if it has or not. But now I'm finally bullish on Candy. I don't have anything on Candy because I didn't like any of the owners and what they were doing. Mm-hmm. But now that you have a CEO that has all of these crazy business connections, and that gave me the time, that he's very, very conscientious, very hardworking, very intelligent, I'll probably get a bunch of stuff on Candy, because even though DC is like a freaking streetwalker and they're very loose with their IP, like VeVe has DC, So did Hero. So did Candy. So did like a couple other places. But that seems to be, it has a person in charge of it now that I trust with the IP. I trust with where it's going, with the communications that he's been doing.
Yeah.
So I'll probably get some stuff on Candy now. So it's largely going to depend what the platform does, if it can survive, which most platforms have not. And then if it can maintain popularity. If it can survive to the bull market, they'll probably be fine. But it also has to maintain the popularity. Like, you can't just have a one-hit wonder and then live off of that one drop forever. You have to keep on. Like, Recur had a lot of hype when they had like Nickelodeon NFTs.
Yeah.
But I did a whole video on it because I don't know how old you are or if you knew like 90s Nickelodeon, but
yeah, I'm 31, so dude, Rugrats, all that
perfect.
shit. Yeah.
They messed up like everything with it. It was like they misspelled Phoebe Heyerdahl. It was like Phoebe Heyerda. They had like Harold with the wrong thing and Tommy with and Chucky with the wrong things. And I was like, this is not taking care of the IP. So I knew immediately to steer clear, even though it had 2 funding rounds, one at $5 million, one at $50 million. The last one had like a $350 million valuation, but it had no revenue. So this is what I mean, where all these VCs get wrecked. They were, oh, you're in NFTs. Oh, Gary Vaynerchuk's in. The Winklevoss twins are in. We're in, and that's how they were able to raise so much money. But they didn't have any revenues, and the product they had, most NFT projects were JPEGs, fine. Yeah. But they were not taking care of the IP. So if you have someone taking care of the IP and the platform, so the 3 I guess I'm super bullish on now would be VeFriends, VeVe, Pudgy Penguins, and I guess Candy, and any brands that are on that associated with it.
Hell yeah, bro. So is that first of all, there's so much to unpack here. I'm glad we're having this because like I think you and I could go on. Like I was writing notes. The IP thing I want to talk about. The bull market, you said. That's interesting. I know a lot of people don't think there'll ever be an NFT kind of bull market again. So I want to talk about that. You're laughing at the prospect of that. But no, 100%. As far as I'm going to touch on what you just said most. So VeVe, you think a lot of these IPs, so VeVe has Disney, a lot of these others. What do you think the ones will be that survive? Like Candy, VeVe, a few of these others. And the idea is that they have the original kind of collectibles or some of the original NFTs of these original brands. And as the world, becomes more digital and NFTs become bigger, that these kind of early platforms are kind of really undervalued.
It'll depend on the collectible. Yeah. Because they're like, even on VeVe, most of the NFTs on there have seen their best day. Yeah. Like there are, I like the spooky and I like Halloween and I like the supernatural. So they had this thing called Cryptkins, where it's like they have Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and Mothman, and I freaking love that stuff. But they're all of them are like $1, because even though I love, like, that's one of my favorite sets, I constantly tell people, like, do not buy that for any type of ROI. There's thousands of them. There's not enough people that are going to like them. Maybe there is one day. Maybe there's a lot of people that think like me, walk, talk, and act like me. Sorry, I love Eminem. And maybe they, goes from like $1 to $2, like maybe, but the big things are going to be what people here now kind of like, and that's the partner statue, which is first appearance of Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney. Okay. And even though there's like a dozen Mickey Mouses on there, you can't recreate like that first appearance. And the other Mickey Mouses are okay. There's one in the platinum moments. He's like platinum Mickey, and he's really cool. Looks amazing. But there's like 6,000 of them. Not a first appearance. He looks great, but it's just not a. At some point he'll probably do okay, but there's only going to be maybe a couple dozen of the collectible NFTs that I think do really well, and then there's a bunch of comics that'll do insanely well. But for the stuff on VeVe, it would be that. It'd be Todd McFarlane Batman. That's first appearance Batman on the blockchain, and it's the first Batman. It's the first collectible that VeVe ever did. In that you have Eddie Riso Batman in that same set. The first ultra rare, it's the first error. It has like a first edition on it instead of a, and it shouldn't be that, but they kept it. First edition is really meant for art. Secret rare Spider-Man, that's Peter Parker. Then they have secret rare Miles Morales. So any like big major character is probably going to do really well.
Okay.
I don't know if like there's a bunch of this place called Designer Con where there's some artists at Designer Con that have hundreds of thousands of followers over on like Instagram.
Yeah. Not
a lot of those translated here. Their stuff, again, probably seen their best day. But first appearance Superman, that's always in like top. They just dropped Aang from Avatar. I went crazy. I have like 76 of those because people were, VeVe was retailing, selling them at $40. And people were trying to gamble for the secret rare. There's just a common and a secret rare. The secret rare is him like in the spirit world, which is cool. But they're going to have this crafting thing in a few months. Like you'll be able to exchange, I think, his avatar. He's on the airball for like for Aang that's doing water bending with Katara. And then you're going to be able to exchange again avatar on the airball for, you know, earth bending with Toph, and then fire bending with Zuko, and then on Appa, and then in the avatar state. So that's
super cool. Do you think you could see, real quickly before I forget, do you think you could see a world where right now it seems like it's still pretty niche? I don't know the demand, like if there's still, you know, whatever, it seems still like a pretty niche community. Obviously NFTs in general are, but could you see a world where, you know, 2-3 years from now, you know, we start to see the general public, or at least millions of people, speculating or buying the releases of Stranger Things is gone, but like any of these shows where it becomes like a popular thing that a lot of people, millions of people are doing?
Yeah, I think because VeVe has the AR and VR mode where you could take pictures with them, and some are animated with sound and you could play with them, and that in general is really cool. Where I was really convinced is, I forget the dude's name. It was around in 2021. It was a nerd like me. He had all the Nintendo systems. So like his kids like knew games. Like they knew how to have fun. And he had VeVe, and there's this thing like this vault that you could go into, like set yourself up in there, and he let his kids play like the games that he had on there, and VeVe as well. And he recalls like one afternoon, he's like, I haven't seen these kids for like 45 minutes. They're quiet. So he goes out and like, what are you guys doing? And it's like, oh, we're playing with VeVe. He's like, still? Like, what do you, like, he didn't even know that they had a vault that you can go and set up your stuff with, and you can go into an augmented reality. And another buddy of mine, his kids love like the Iron Man stuff because he does like a proton cannon, like an energy blast, and you know the kids pretend like, you know, like the Power Rangers, and like they're getting blasted. And I like that kids are super into that because that's generally like the future. That's what drives a lot of popularity and drives a lot of culture is the youth. But as far as money will come back into this. You need to have that. You need to have liquidity injection. So the rates need to be lowered. You need to get out of war with Iran, or continue the war with Iran, but just have rates go super low, and then have like quantitative infinity, and just inject a ton of money into the markets and get people spending, because there's trillions of dollars locked up in money market accounts on the side waiting for lower rates, and we just don't have them yet. So once that happens, you'll see a huge market melt up. You'll see trillions of dollars will get just ripped into the market. And is most of that going to go into crypto? No, most of that's going to go into housing and gold and, you know, equities, stocks, bonds, but a decent amount will go into crypto and
collectibles, right?
Yeah, and obviously once we have, like, generally for, let's say, like Milady Makers or Moonbirds or CryptoPunks, like whatever happens with ETH, if ETH rises, those NFTs rise at a commensurate rate. And it's the same with the VeVe NFTs as well. And a lot of NFT projects from the past that have failed now, like that money needs to go somewhere. And I think a lot of these people are saying, like, they're really hungry for that IP, and there's no better place to get that IP than on VeVe, because it literally has something for everyone. Ghostbusters.
VeVe has a coin, right?
Yeah, it's the OMI token.
Oh, OMI. Okay. Have you been buying that at all over the?
Yeah. So I, in 2021, put about 600K into it.
Okay.
If I didn't dollar cost average, that would be worth 5 or 10K now. I've dollar cost averaged a bit. So I have like 300 million tokens. It's worth like 30K. It's like that's currently probably and it went up to like 1 million plus at some point. I round tripped it. I didn't sell.
Dude, you're a believer, man. I've been there so many times. Like, you have conviction in something. It's tough, especially in that heat of NFT, mania. There's people who didn't sell apes, and I was talking to this chick on the space earlier who a VeVe. It wasn't even like the very top project, which I want to talk about VeVe too, but like her, 140K, and she was like, yeah, I just didn't even. Oh, it was a doodle even she didn't sell for 100K, and it's just, it's tough. There, it's easy to look back and be like, oh, I should have sold, but especially with something like VeVe, which it was like collectibles of your life or something. I mean, I don't blame you. But dude, that's super interesting. I want to get more into that bull run side of it too. But I'm the same way. I think there will be a few things for NFTs. I was talking to Jeremy today, which he works, at VeVe, and works closely with Gary and everything, and been around for the whole time. And he was talking about, he thinks that we'll probably get one of these NFT IPs to get some kind of mainstream show or Netflix or something before we get a mainstream kind of technological breakthrough for NFTs. But he thinks what will push NFTs and all these IPs and VeVe and everything to go mainstream will probably end up being some type of technological breakthrough, medical records going on chain, or, whatever it may be. I'm super kind of conflicted too, because I'm more of a crypto guy as well. And you're right. Definitely when ETH goes up, we saw it go up from 2K to 4,500 last year. And during that time, we saw Pudgy Penguins, VeVe, apes, all these start to go up as well. Unfortunately, didn't break the all-time highs in ETH. The whole risk asset market came down. But I'm a believer too that doesn't matter, what happens in the macro world and NFTs. I think once ETH breaks all-time highs, we'll start to see a lot of these NFTs start to pick up, just from the fact that people are up, in their ETH that they've been holding for a lot of years. They're going to want to speculate on stuff. That I think can ignite kind of a pretty nice bull run in these NFTs just from the crypto capital. But I'm kind of in agreement with Jeremy that I think it makes more sense that what will push it to where everybody's trading NFTs and digital collectibles will probably come from something outside of the collectible world. So it'll be interesting to see what that happens. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this bull run, obviously you talked about the money printing and all that, that's the actual catalyst, but do you think it'll include some type of mainstream, push from our NFTs, or do you think it'll be the speculation side that really drives it again, or both?
Have you ever seen BoJack Horseman?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it. I'm not a huge,
First off, you should be, because it's great. But there's a scene in there where Todd is talking to Diane. Diane's having this thing. It's like, she's a writer on this show, and she's like, people should hear about this. We should write an episode on this. And Todd's like, Diane, why do you think I put this pill that Mr. Peanut Butter gets into a piece of cheese? Because he won't take it by itself. You have to cover it in something so that he takes it without even knowing it. Heck, he thinks he's enjoying it. And I guess that's similar to the they do a bit on that in Austin Powers movie where they put like marshmallows in cereal, and kids think like, oh yeah, I'm having fun, this is candy. Meanwhile, it's packed with vitamins and stuff like that. And I think it'll take something like Off the Grid is a really popular game where they take, for those that don't know, they chop off your extremities, your arms and your legs, and you get upgrades. Like this one's a gun, this one's a cannon, you have a sword down there, and all of those are NFTs. And most people don't know it. They're just like, yeah, it's a cool upgrade, it's a cool weapon, it's a cool item. The stickers on Telegram are NFTs. Some of the flair on Reddit is like NFTs. And so I think it'll take something like that where people are using it and they don't know it, or they're just not calling it NFTs.
Absolutely.
Because like you have the pure Web3ists that, yeah, they'll call it NFTs forever. But you have a lot of people out there that, like, I remember when VeVe got Cookie Monster, and there, I won't say exactly who, but if you, Vanity Fair did an article about it, and a lot of the people that had requoted the Vanity Fair article, if you take a look at their profile pictures, there was a lot of patterns and a lot of consistencies. Like, oh, this person looks like this person looks like that, they're all part of this same group. And they were all saying that, like, Cookie Monster is an NFT and the world is worse now. And they just had such a negative connotation with NFT because there were a lot of them that were scams. There were a lot of them that weren't great for the environment. They were net negative energy wise. But they never looked into the product, knowing that VeVe, like, and there's multiple NFT. One, even if the NFT does cause a little bit of electricity, it's like a super small amount.
Yeah,
I think some people just like to complain, but VeVe, it was, you know, carbon neutral, and it was just something, a new way for people to collect and have fun with it. So as long as there's people are using blockchain and they don't know it, I think that's a general way. For, like, I think GTA 6 might be on the blockchain.
that's what I was going to ask next. I agree 100% that I think that's the next phase for crypto in general, is that the real adoption. And I think it's really going to happen. People have been saying for a while, oh, adoption this, adoption that. We got the institutions, obviously, all of them just been building these crypto products in general. But now I think this next run in crypto is going to be filled with, just like you said, people, the actual products and apps themselves being used by people, whether through digital collectibles or stable coin stuff. They're not even knowing they're using it, right? The technology itself is in the background and people are just playing the game. I did play off the grid a little bit, and I think that's amazing that you literally play the game. You have no clue it's crypto or blockchain or anything, but it's right on the Avalanche chain. And I think that's super exciting. And I 100% agree that's the next level or the next kind of phase for crypto in general. It'll just be interesting to see kind of what kind of kicks that off for NFTs, whether it's ETH going up or maybe tomorrow. There could be something in the works already where I think Topps, the card, trading cards, they already have the, GameStop and what's it called? PSA already have the digital card vault thing. I think eventually those are NFT'd where people can trade on the open market. And it, like you said, don't even have to know that it's an NFT. So I 100% agree. It just will be interesting to see, kind of how that plays out. VeFriends, you said though, what did you find me from that clip, the clip I put out, or where?
With Gary, right?
Yeah.
So before we get to that, Jason Pena, thanks for being a member.
Sorry, I didn't mean to dominate your show. I'm still in question mode because I was in your show.
No, I love this stuff. Well, I can go all night. I'll be here till 2 a.m. He's asking, what are some of the grails / guard types to go for? Top tier only, please. I feel you can answer this better than I can. Yeah.
So VeFriends is a really interesting IP because it has 200. First of all, Jason, great question. Appreciate it, bro. The VeFriends has 250 different characters. 250 something. So where most NFTs, pudgy penguins, apes, there'll be an ape and then kind of the same character, or at least different colored characters, and then like different traits on it, right? And some of them they put, when they have cartoons, they attach names to it and stuff. But VeFriends is a unique IP because it has 250 different characters. Okay, so you asked what are some of the Grail cards types? The number one character, the Pikachu. I guess you would say like the what's it called, Charizard, as far as the value, but like the logo is the black cat. That seems, those are those cards where, for example, the black cat Topps Chrome card, somebody bought it for an undisclosed amount of money, around 6 figures, I think, plus like 2 gift goats, which I don't know if you know much about the gift goat NFTs. Those themselves are like 15K. So there's like this big kind of niche community, but a very strong like community that bids kind of these things up. But to answer your question, I would say the grails / card types, VeFriends are very interesting because so far It has the Series 1, right, which came out through Zero Cool. Then they had a TCG Series 2, which is also pretty, up there now because the TCG is kind of getting popular. And then Topps Chrome VeFriends, which just came out. Obviously, you probably know only SpongeBob. There you go. You got the super stickers. Those are the spec super stickers. Those are sick too.
Yeah, I got a 1 of 55.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Jolly Jacko's a pretty big character. I would say probably top 10. But to kind of, Topps Chrome came out. Only IPs that have gotten Topps so far: SpongeBob, Disney, Marvel, the few other ones. And that's because VeFriends got it being such a small IP, because I think the connection between Michael Rubin and Gary, they're great friends. I think Michael Rubin knows kind of Gary's vision of the whole thing. But it's really, it's tough, Jason. The Topps Chrome cards, like the 101s, the Superfractors, some of them are going for tens of thousands. That Black Cat, like I said, over 100,000, plus value. But then some of the Series 1 cards also as well are going for tens of thousands of dollars. I would say between the Series 1, which there's only 500 boxes total, versus the Topps Chrome, are pretty, comparable in price, both the one-on-ones and both on there. Who knows where it goes in the future? But you're going to look, top characters, I'm going to say, are going to be the Black Cat, number 1, the Jolly Jacko, like he has here, Fearless Fairy, Empathy Elephant. All of these characters are based on traits, right, that kind of Gary implements in his content. So you can imagine the kind, the these different kindness, patience, all these like kind of mainstream traits. Those are the ones that tend to be the kind of the top characters. So Fearless, because he talks about, kind of eliminate fear in the world. So yeah, those kind of bigger traits. But the actual collections, you're going to be looking at, Series 1 and Topps Chrome to kind of hold in the most value.
Awesome. I do want to get in. So I went to VCon in 2022.
Nice.
He's Gary's awesome, and he got. I was very impressed with the work that he was doing, and just like how we combat a lot of the fudders. Because like, listen, guys, I can't help the floor price. That's just the overall market, and because like, VeFriends are crazy, and then obviously with everything else that went down, I just like the way he handled a lot of stuff. I like the panel of speakers that he got for everything. I like that he just gave out free egg sandwiches in the morning. I was like, Gary, you don't need to do this. This is awesome.
That's what's up.
And then I didn't get to meet him at that point, but I got to meet him last summer. He was doing something with VeFriends, and I bought a pack. I think I gave the pack away on a stream. Mm-hmm. And it was just a quick 2-minute thing. I asked to record. He said, okay. And I said, like, how do we get people excited about NFTs, specifically VeFriends, when, NFTs have this negative connotation? It's just like, listen, and he knew I was a big VeVe guy. He's just like, listen, we have to do a lot of the IP building, and we have to do it like, because he said he's behind like 60 years on Spider-Man, and 80 years on Superman and Batman, and 100 years on Coca-Cola and Nintendo. Yep. And it's just like that. So that's his job. Like, he says his job is to build the IP. And I have a comic coming out on VeVe called daCat, or daCat Chronicles. And if you knew someone that could like shoot Gary a message, be like, hey, if this comic does well, if this like proves itself as an IP, could there be like a crossover between the Jolly Jacko? Can the Jolly Jacko go into one of the comics?
Dude, I can connect you with Jeremy, who's like really, he's like the community kind of leader with VeFriends and stuff. And Gary's always says he tries to find a way always to say yes or maybe to something, right? So okay. Definitely will connect them. Those guys are definitely open and always hear people out, especially if you guys have talked before and everything. So definitely, I'll see what I can do as far as connecting you to the right people. But dude, that's freaking awesome. You're putting out a comic. I'm sure we'll talk about comics a little bit too. But dude, I think going into the IP thing, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey in NFTs. I've been a big crypto guy since 2016. So just like you, when Gary came in, you remember he made an announcement on Instagram, and at first I thought it might be a coin, right? Because I was like looking in the NFT stuff, but I just didn't assume he was going to do an NFT because they were so new. But ended up being NFT, so it was just a natural fit. Gary's my all-time kind of favorite content creator since I was young. To me, he's just always been kind of the perfect mix of like kind of motivating people, but then also giving the most tangible, like practical info that you can actually use to make money. And he's just kept it real, never really sold out like any of these other guys. So always a huge fan of him. So when it was the two crossovers, that's kind of what really got me into getting serious about NFTs and looking into it. Back then didn't have as much capital, so I was just playing around, didn't have any of the kind of high-end stuff, was more, involved in the crypto world, doubled down with that. But, I was always a believer in the technology. Gary, I saw his videos back then where he talked about not only VeFriends getting big, but the technology itself being, massive. I really was a big believer, but then crypto kind of popped off, the meme coin kind of stuff kind of came around in 2024, did kind of really well with that. Started a Telegram group with 40,000 subs now with my, business partner. So at that time, I got some more capital where I really could start collecting VeFriends, which I wanted to do for the last few years then. And back in 2024, October 2024 is where I first bought my first VeFriends Series 1, which is like kind of the top collection, the first, first 10K. Gary drew all the original characters on there. That's why they look a little crazy on some of them. Yeah. But, at that time, it was right after VCon, the last one. People thought there might not be any more because they only had 3 years of guaranteed utility. That had run out. There's a big question mark. So they were sitting at 0.7, when ETH was like 3,000. So it's kind of close to where it's at now, about $2,000 each of them were. I remember there was a lot of negativity kind of in the Discord, because like you said, people were just not really hot on NFTs. But then around 2020, I started buying some. I think I had about 10 or 12 VF1s, bought it like probably 50 the VF2s at that time. And then Gary came back in the Discord in about, I think, November, December, when Pudgies and Apes were kind of pumping, like going up. The NFT space kind of was heating up again. And he kind of said, don't get it twisted. The NFTs are the main thing. All of this is about driving value back to the original collectibles, which is the NFT, by building the IP, which we'll go into. But so that's where I got really, really bullish. I was like, okay, all of this shit that I've been seeing in the videos, and I've been telling myself we're going to get this second NFT kind of resurgence, just like he's saying. Now he's literally saying the same shit, like to everyone, right? So in the Discord and stuff. So I just started buying. I went from the 5 or 6 VF1s I had to 31 over 2024, 2025. Again, just because I thought the NFTs were going to kind of come back, but I saw, Gary really solidifying a lot of the stuff he said in the videos. But for me, I kind of went through a transition over the last year of being really like, oh, I think there's going to be another NFT bull and stuff, and focusing more on the speculative side, kind of how everyone was in 2021, to really becoming just a collector, making collecting kind of the focus now. From someone who wasn't a huge collector of stuff until recently, I realize now that, like Gary said, this is a era of collectibles, right? Collectibles are the biggest thing. Bitcoin stocks are crashing. Collectibles are up like crazy. And NFTs are just digital collectibles. I put out a tweet earlier today saying, I think NFTs are just the next frontier of collecting, but the world just doesn't know it yet, right? Yeah. So, started buying a bunch of the VF1s there, got to 139 VF2s now. And now I'm just really, I don't know if it's going to be a year, 2 years, 3 years before VeFriends blows up and then the next NFT bull run. But I'm just a big believer that we're kind of in the crossroads where collecting is getting huge. Crypto and digital stuff is getting huge with even the institutions in the government, that I think it's a matter of time before the VeFriends or any of these IPs pop off. And I think NFTs become, a massive thing. So yeah, I'm just a huge believer, and I'm just kind of just collecting, some of these NFTs, especially VeFriends, at low prices kind of while I can,
Yeah. Where did most people get them? The OG VeFriends, just OpenSea?
Yeah, OpenSea right now is like, we're in a crazy place in NFTs because Magic Eden, what they did, you're familiar with Magic Eden. They did.
Yeah, they shuttered down their.
They shut NFT? Down all the ETH. Yeah, all ETH NFTs. So only have Solana NFTs now. So really, the only game in town with real liquidity is really OpenSea. Blur has some. rareable a little bit, but yeah, it's mostly OpenSea right now.
Yeah. There's Tad Smith, I think the new CEO of Candy he wants self-custody. I don't know if their NFTs are on the root network, which was so stupid. I don't know why they did that. They're going to migrate either to ETH or hopefully the collect chain, because they tell me, Gary, at one point, this was years ago, he had made so much money on the secondary sales of NFTs because back in the day, the royalties were enforced.
Yep.
Are the royalties enforced anymore on OpenSea? I think most of them are not, right?
Great question. That's a great question. So yeah, you're right. So it was like royalties, and that's why Gary was talking so bullish back then too. A lot of times because they thought they were going to continue to have royalties and be able to do crazy stuff for holders forever. But that went away because the market went from mass speculation, everybody in there, everything came down, and all that was left in 22, 23 were just kind of flippers, right?
Yeah.
So obviously only thing left was flippers. The exchanges had to kind of pander to them. Not pander, but just kind of, those were their customers. So they dropped royalties, right? Because these guys were just like, oh, why would we have to pay 5% fees? We can just go to another exchange. Blur made no fees. So that kind of just became the norm. But now we've seen, what that incentivizes. A lot of these projects rugged and not doing anything. They have no way to fund the projects. So to answer your question though, no, there was no enforced royalties instead until recently. A lot of projects, Chimpers, a bunch of Good Vibes Club, are actually a lot of them are rolling over to another contract so they can have enforced royalties, incentivizing people by doing certain things to kind of do it. But yeah, most of them are kind of transitioning back to royalties, and I think that's going to be the norm again come a couple years.
Have you heard of Collect Chain?
Collect Chain? I don't think I have.
They just started like last year, and on their blockchain, the royalties are like baked in whenever you mint them or go over to them. So there, for a long time, let's say like VeVe, they weren't considered like real NFTs because you couldn't, even though they were from these legit companies and they were on the blockchain, you couldn't self-custody them. And that's a big thing for people in Web3. Web2 people, I don't know if they would really care about that, but for Web3, that was like the Mason-Dixon line. That was their sticking point.
Yeah.
So Collect Chain came around and they're like, hey, we can enforce the royalties like in our chain, and it can be done wherever on MetaMask, Magic Eden's gone now, but so VeVe migrated like 12 million collectibles over there. If Gary wants to get that royalty enforced, I'd say migrate over to Collect Chain, and this way they're baked into the blockchain, and this way they can go wherever they want. The royalties are guaranteed.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know VFriends because Gary's really big on provenance, and when you switch it to a new contract, technically those aren't the original tokens. Like Chimpers just did it. The way they did it is they pretty much made the original Chimpers, which are like a pixel art. I don't know if you know Chimpers.
I know of them.
Yeah, they're pixel art, and then they just recently transitioned to like kawaii art, where it's more clear and not the whatever. They part traits on them and a lot of cool stuff, but now it's on a different contract. So there's two different collections. I think Gary's really big on provenance and having the original collectible staying the original collectible.
Yeah. Even if the data shows that like, hey, this is the original data, like here's the date it was actually minted, here's the date, like
yeah, the data is there, but that's not the same token, right? It's tainted. You know what I mean? It's like you're getting a Jordan rookie card, and then for some reason you want to move it over to another. You know what I mean? I think it's a unique thing with digital, but yeah, I think that, you know what I mean? It's a different set of tokens, and I think some people value that.
Yeah. Would you say more than like 60% of people they're like think like that? Like, yeah, it's tainted.
Right now,
or is it like just a loud minority of like 5 or 10%?
That's a great question. Right now, I would say I think people like Gary really value that, and that's because I think he knows that collectors in the future, right?
Yeah.
People like yourself and others are really going to value that provenance, and there might be some trouble there. So I think he's thinking in terms of that. But the people that are currently in here, I think most, let's be honest, are here for speculation. Even in NFTs, I'm really stoked. Like that's why I'm really kind of trying to be loud about it and all that. Like, there is a lot of collectors in NFTs. There's projects like VeFriends, which is the biggest kind of collector kind of community, I think, in NFTs, peer collectors. Like, but there's Good Vibes Club, Chimpers, Corkies is another big one, where these guys are there's utility and stuff to the projects, but they're focused on collecting. Like they're really stoked on getting their next, things, just like people with cards and like you are with VeVe, to where I think there are a base of collectors, but to answer your question, most people I think wouldn't really care if there was some type of financial incentive for them to switch.
Yeah. Okay. Talk more on that at some point in the future. These are going to be my, so I haven't gone all in like I did on OMI in 2021. I don't know if I'll ever do that on any project again, but I've had very good luck the last few years with meeting some good people that had businesses that they had tokens attached to them, and that's, they got on the channel, they did whatever, but I was able to buy into the businesses and they've kind of blown up now, in the best way. So I'll have a decent amount of money coming in. I'll sell shares here and there. They're private companies, but you can do OTC deals.
Nice.
So let's say you get a windfall of just like, yeah, I get job well done. Someone bonuses you 10K.
Yeah.
If you were to pick, like, let's say in VeFriends,
yeah,
would you sweep the floor right now? I think it's the Woke Walrus, Daring Dragonfly, Glowing Glowworm, and Mojo Mouse. It'd be like, yeah, those 4, not bad. Or would you go on and I don't know how many of the black cats are, or if you can even get those.
Yeah.
Would you spend like all of it on one NFT, like the black cat, or would you just sweep the floor because there's only how many of these? 10,000?
Yeah. Only 10,000 series 1s.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, that's an amazing question. I'm always like an and, not or type of dude. Yeah. So what I would say is you for sure would have to get a VF1. Gary says those are the alpha. Just because, again, my collector people, like, it's the original collectible. There's only 10,000 of them. How many Charizards were printed before everybody obviously put them in their back pocket and shit? Probably tens of thousands, right? If not 100,000.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Base set, right? Obviously, it's different. These are digital. They're not going to be destroyed. Well, I mean, some people will lose them, but 10,000 original. There's only 40 of each character. So you can imagine if one of these characters gets some type of deal, it becomes a huge thing on its own. There's only 40 of that original collectible ever. So just based on that, and then Gary in the past has talked about, I want to eventually, when the legislation allows it, attach future business outcomes to whatever. Like people could be my future business partners. You assume that's going to go to the VF1s. All the utility, Topps Chrome that came out, you could get a box for $100. They went to $700. Those went to the Series 1s. So you definitely want to get a Series 1. Right now they're what? How much? 3,000. So I would get 1 or 2 of those. As far as the floor right now, I was last year got a gift goat or 2 gift goats and a spec, which is the 101s. Okay. Other than that, I went for stuff of value near the floor. So on the first 2, the stuff that sticks out to me, I'm not a huge woke guy, woke walrus guy. So, but which is a cool character, but I would go for one of the rares that are down here. You see the kind of the beige ones. Sincere Skunk looks pretty cool. I think Poised Pug is actually a pretty good character. It's not rare, but I would either go for, you see the Wild Boar. It's a very rare, but that's just not as a popular character. So top 3 on those first 2 levels, I would go the Sincere Skunk and the rare, the Poised Pug, maybe in the 2, and then maybe the Mojo Mouse.
So the rares are the one that have like the brown background.
Yeah, and those ones, instead of there's how many rares? There's only I think 10 of each character or something.
So talk to me about rarity. Does it go like rare, very rare? So like what are the tiers of rarities?
Yeah, so there's the base, which are just the black. Then you have the rare, which is the brown ones, whatever, beige. Then you have the very rare. So yeah, the rares have 8. The bases have 20. And then you have the very rares, which there's only 5. And then you go to epics, which I think there's 2 or 3. And then the 101 specs, they're called.
What colors are the epic, or what colors are the next ones? The
specs.
Yeah.
So that's sorry.
Oh no, I see a bunch of like the orange. The orange is the very rare, right?
Yeah, orange is very rare.
Okay. What color is the next one after that?
Green is epic.
Green is epic. This little guy, it looks like he's basic, but he's got GOO on the top.
Yeah, so there's some different traits as well. Goo is Gary originally owned. So at the beginning, he minted.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like the equivalent of somebody having, you know, on the CGC slab, like if it was originally owned by somebody,
Yeah.
you know, on the card. So it's on there forever. And you'd imagine VeeFriends gets huge. Imagine having one that like Walt Disney originally owned or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is big. And then the specs is interesting. The specs, there's 4 different spec types, right? There's bubblegum, diamond, hollow, and emerald. Now, each of the characters has one of those. So for each, the black cat, there's a hollow, you know, whatever, each of those 4 for each character. So there's 4 101s for each character. Obviously, it's technically a 101 because there's only one gold black cat. There's only one diamond black cat. So that's kind of how the rarity works on the 101s.
Cool. I'm going through a bunch of these now, and I'm going down towards like 2.5 ETH. Like, oh, I don't want to spend that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, because then if it's 2.5 ETH, then it's like you get 2 of them, and then that's 10K. It's like, I don't know what would be better to get. And obviously, I don't know if I'll just spend 10. I might spend. I might go crazy on them. I mean, how?
I didn't really see what I was going to say actually. So the series 1s, I would get one, maybe 1 or 2 of those, and then the rest I would throw in the series 2s. Which, like I said, you're going to get the most, I think, over time, like utility and stuff from the series 1s. But series 2s are the ones that are like $150, $200 that they push on the whatnot shows that they have. Like those are the ones that the newer people are going to come into because they're $150, $200.
Yeah, that's like the Jolly Jackos and.
Yeah. Jolly Jacko is in series 1 as well. Wait, no, yeah. Series, yeah, there's a series 1 Jackos too. Oh,
there is. Oh, damn, he's 3.
Yeah, that Jacko is like a top 10 character probably. It's interesting with the series 2s. They're in like kind of childlike, kind of cartoonish, which, you know, that was the first kind of rendition after the series 1s. You would assume VeeFriends is kind of just only a childish brand. But with the comics, I don't know if you checked any of those out. There's a lot more kind of adult and like, you know, young adult themes with like the Motivated Monster, for example, which was the 5th comic. The way he gets resurrected is just like his brother like pisses on his grave, and like this shit that's clearly not for kids. So
that's all. I'm glad he has that because I saw. And it was just one of the things. It was like a short, maybe like 7 minutes or whatever. And there was an elephant and giraffe in there. And it was meant for like 4 or 5-year-olds. And I was like, and which is fine. We all watch. I'm trying to think of a 4 or 5-year-old. Like, let's say like I didn't watch Dora. I was a little old for that. But I feel like Rugrats, like kind of everyone can enjoy. But
yeah, Rugrats,
that seems very,
whatever.
Yeah. It just seemed very kid-like, and I was hoping he would do something, at least just for older kids, maybe like a Hey Arnold type thing, something that like, you know, could like 12-year-olds could watch as well as like 5-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. He kind of compares it to Marvel, like how, you know, originally they made stuff for, I think, more adults and kind of kids stuff, and then it goes into like a kids cartoon, right? So he's kind of said he imagines making stuff for all kinds of ages. And before the newest comics, I kind of was like, how is that? You know, I couldn't really see how that is going to be. But now I'm seeing with these comics, they're essentially making more adult stories, stuff that you can tell will appeal to like, you know, teenagers and adults rather than just little kids.
I really want to have Jolly Jacko in one of my comics. There's
a few other Halloween type. You should check out Motivated Monster. These Halloween ones are pretty, you know, popular, but the Motivated Monster, there's a Vibe and Vampire. There's a really interesting one is Gritty Ghost. There's a guy, Ghost Kid. I don't know if you know him in NFTs. His name's Ghost Kid, so he's kind of like a maxi of the character he's bought. This guy's impressive. He has every single series 2 character. Like I said, there's 250 of them. He's a great collector, but he's kind of taken over the Gritty Ghost to where he's collected a bunch of them, and he's he's burned a bunch of them. Like he's sending them to the burn wallet to make them actually rarer than a slut of the other ones. I thought you might like that. Yeah. Like,
what a badass.
Yeah. And he's doing that. And he's actually offering like some of these cards he's getting for utility for free for having the specs, for example. He's offering people to burn their gritty ghosts and he'll give them that type of stuff. So he's doing something there. Yeah. So check those out if you like the spooky stuff.
I will. That's so cool. I need like a crash course. I need like a Randy Chavez of VeFriends that has like all these videos, and I need to like watch them like Wednesday because tomorrow I'm going to the supermarket.
I'll send you a bunch of stuff, and you and I can talk. I think there's kind of like a gap between those, like especially the last few years. Not too many people making those videos, so I think there's like a kind of a opportunity there, to be honest, for people to start making those.
Oh yeah, I'll yeah. If you want to do a show like every week or something, or every other week, I'd totally do that.
Let's do it, bro. Like I said, I love these convos, and I think, dude, you're very fucking knowledgeable. So I think that, I mean, how long have we been on? Dude, this shit's been flowing.
You came on 45 minutes ago, maybe an hour. I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Nos Clint, which shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much for coming on and checking this out. He says, I don't know how I didn't say this. Go ahead and take the VeFriends quiz as well. It kind of like will tell you your character.
Do I Google?
I think it's at the top, Clint. I think it's at the top of the VeFriends. Yeah, you should do it right now. VeFriends.
I'm on it. Okay, start quiz.
Yeah.
Beep boop, thinking. Transmitting a new query. Okay. Thank you for the start signal. My mission is to help you find VeFriends character that matches your unique energy. Oh, I freaking love this. This is like what was the thing? What do girls like? That's not really real. Astrology. When you get a free day with no plans, what do you use to recharge? Work out and eat,
good
and watch good television. Okay, beep boop, thinking.
Yeah, this is cool.
Oh, there's only 8 questions. Okay, all right, this will be quick.
Hell yeah. Now, Gary, while you're just answering, I'll tell you, Gary he does a lot of giveaways on the timeline every few months where he'll just give away a bunch of the Series 2s, but they're just really big on getting everybody to take the quiz to kind of find out their, favorite character. Because, I mean, dude, there's 250 right now. There could probably be more in the future. Each of them has like a trait that, resonates with, everybody really. So it's cool.
So it depends if I was working a lot.
My boy Clint here has the Gratitude Gorilla. You see the Gratitude Gorilla? That's a spec.
I do.
It's a gold spec. Clint,
so
you have that. You have that Series 1, right? Let us know in the chat.
Super rare. How much do you think that goes for?
Oh, dude, I don't even know. I mean, Clint, I doubt he's ever would sell that shit. But if he were, it probably those things. The Gratitude is definitely a top 10 character because you can imagine Gratitude, big one. You could go look at recent sales, but the top specs they just don't go for much, right? Not go for much. They don't sell very often, right? But tens of thousands, definitely 5 figures right now, definitely going well above the floor for characters like that. But dude, you rarely for those big characters, you rarely will see the specs sell.
Groklet, VeVe is not by VeFriends now. They're 2 different things. Although I would like to see maybe some of the maybe Gary to agree to get some high-end 3D digital collectibles on VeVe. That could be cool.
Dude, I'm surprised. Does he not have any of the Mickey stuff or anything? Because he's huge.
I'm sure he does. Like, I'm sure he's got some in like a anonymous wallet.
Yeah,
anonymous account.
If it was on OpenSea on ETH, like you could see it in his wallet. He's definitely not too shy to that type of stuff. But he has to, bro, because that's the number one thing he talks about right now is about kind of talking to people. It's like about the older IPs and their rookie cards, like the Looney Tunes and all that shit. The IP rookie cards. So I would not be surprised if he has a lot of the early Disney NFTs. Yeah, no, Gary's definitely not a traditional artist. You can see by the Series 1s, but he's a businessman and about building the IP. Walt Disney definitely started as an artist, but you can imagine he probably outsourced a lot of the later stuff to other great people as far as the art goes. It's kind of like the self-assessment test, but VeFriends characters that matches by your responses. Yeah, exactly.
What am I? I'm on question 4. Oh, I wish. Goal is to get it. Okay, we can get you to get it. We
Nice,
have that
bro.
power.
Hell yeah.
On
Nice.
the situation. Situation. I either tell
Yeah,
them.
you have the rhino, not Clint. Do you have the reflective rhinoceros, or are you just a rhino guy?
Until Gary's wallet. Not sure.
The gold gorilla. Yeah, Gary also an interesting part of it is Gary, if you go look at his wallet, he owns, there's 10,000, he owns like 1,700 of the series ones. So he owns, yeah, he's been collecting them over time, collecting it, you know, his own project. It's obviously a sign of his conviction in it, but also I think it's super bullish because he's not selling any of those. Occasionally he'll trade or he'll give away stuff, but he's definitely not selling any of that stuff in the vault. And I think it's essentially the equivalent of buybacks in stocks, or even Mark Zuckerberg owns way more than 10% at the beginning. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
I've completed 4 questions. Sorry, this is getting a little.
No,
the strong care. Okay, so nice.
Talk about the chat.
So you've been in crypto for a while here. Is there any? I'll have you answer this while I do my questions here. Do you still do traditional investments? If you do, what do you have? What do you like to stick with? What do you stay away from? What do you specialize in? That type of stuff.
100%. And so yeah, I've been pretty much. First started making money, like started in Forex, quickly went to crypto, and definitely did some options like everybody else. But I'm someone who started, again, only 10 years ago in the market. So I pretty much started and stuck kind of with crypto for the most part. And for a few years, obviously that first bull run kind of, didn't do much, but that second kind of bear market kind of did a lot of research, put a lot of my expendable income in there, and kind of was able to go kind of full time in crypto since then with content creation and just the trading. So I never really got into like equity side of things, but now that I have more expendable income, I'm definitely looking to put more of that into different funds and having that money kind of grow for me in the equity side. But I'm not somebody who's kind of started with that. Only now that I have more capital am I definitely needing to get that into this more traditional side of stuff. But as far as, I look at the S&P 500 all the time. Occasionally, like earlier this year, I placed some puts on the S&P 500 when I, kind of track the chart kind of stuff, but it's very rare. I'm mostly a crypto guy, digital guy in general. But, I definitely need to get some of my money in that kind of other side of things, just kind of growing for me. But traditionally, I think that's just a smart thing to do in general. If you have $1 million to have at least, or $100,000, have 20-30% of that in the traditional market kind of growing for you. But what about you?
I made a lot of money in Tesla. While I was investing in Tesla, I was Lemonade. I made a bit of money there. Illumina, Fastly, those were probably the big ones. The VOO and the SPY, I get it, are like, I feel like if you have no risk tolerance, or if you don't know what you're doing, or if you just want something safe, yes, invest in those. They grew too slow for me. I was in Tesla and Pokemon cards. I was, I try to go with what I specialize in, which really is collecting, math, human behavior, and now the last few years, the biggest things have really been these startups that, they have innovative, like, I won't like shill a bunch on it, although they're in my title, a lot of these.
Shill them, bro.
One is Definity, the Definity token, which if you look at the chart, it looks like it's dead. It's like $1.5 million market cap. They had like $2,000 in volume today, but the company called DMA Link, they're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in revenue, and they're just absolutely crushing it. And they're growing quarter over quarter. Like every single quarter is just so much better than the quarter beforehand. They'll be doing $1 million a month at some point this year. They'll probably be valued well in the 9 figures at some point, because normally it's like, oh, even if they're doing $1 million a year, okay, what if they're just doing or $1 million a month. It's like, okay, if you do a 20x multiple of that, yeah, sure, let's say 10 million, 20x multiple, okay, 200 million. But a lot of companies in our industry are being valued at like 40, 50, almost 100x earnings multiple. So and again, their token is 1.5 million. Like I think that's going to be, I own a decent amount of the company, and I own like 1% of the token, and I want to get more because I know the CEO, he's very fair, he's a very good guy. And that's one of those things where when I get some more money in the next few months, I'll just double down on it. Same with FIAS and DEVVE, and then VeVe, if it does this reverse merger and gets listed on NASDAQ, I'll do that too.
Oh, damn, they're trying to do a reverse merger?
Yeah.
Nice. Dude, yeah, I mean, you think about it, like, I think the digital collectibles, like Gary said, is like going to be the main narrative eventually. And I just remember how exciting it was back in 2021, like the Matrix, they came out around, they had that movie come out around that time. I don't know what platform they did it on, but they did like, you can mint either like the agents were like the good side or the bad side, whatever they're called. And then they had a bunch of interactive stuff where like eventually, like you were saying with your, whatever you were talking about earlier, where they kind of transform, or you can kind of do all these different things to them, like an interactive experience as kind of the movie, maybe it was a show, whatever, as time went on. And I could just see a world where, in 5-10 years, where the new movie comes out and people are collecting the new NFT, which gets you access to a community, and then potentially all these different things, like becoming a mainstream thing, with speculation becoming big, collectibles becoming big, crypto becoming big. I don't see how it doesn't happen eventually.
Agreed. Okay, I have a match found. See your results and exclusive discount. All right, I gotta log in and sign up. Okay, give me a sec.
Damn.
All right, I have to do meow meow meow. Can I just do it with Google? I'll just do it with my email. Submit. Oh, I think I actually. Okay, hang on. 495 HOTTOGO. Make it hard to go. Matching you to your character. Adventurous astronaut. Houston, we've got an opportunity. Well, what can you tell me about the adventurous astronaut?
So that is another big character. Adventurous astronaut it actually just had a comic. Was it comic 6 or maybe 7? I don't know. I think maybe 7 or 8. Just recently, really sick art. One of the bigger characters, 100%. One that you very rarely see the sold, especially the series ones. There's a guy, H-Town Astro. The guy's from Houston.
Yeah.
And obviously the Astros, and he's kind of the maxi of that character. He does some cool stuff around that. But yeah, the comic came out. What was I about to say about also another popular character is the Rare Robot. That one you'll probably see. It's like you can see it. It's like, it almost reminds you of like the Schoolhouse Rock kind of characters. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like if you look at that, like it's like kind of went to the side. It has like a song that kind of is like that kind of, Schoolhouse Rock kind of thing, but also a really popular character. They just had a comic that was really sick. And yeah, I would say Adventurous Astronaut's a big character though. And you probably get series 2 of that for not too much.
Okay, and the series 1 of that is like crazy expensive?
Yeah, there's just not many listed. Like I said, there's only 40 of each character. So like, let's see, Adventurous.
How much do you think of that is like people know it's like a grail and they have it on lock, versus like people got it years ago and then when stuff went down, they just gave up and left and they're never coming back? So
I would say mostly like there's these kind of maxis of these characters, especially the bigger ones, where like I could tell you the Adventurous Astronauts, that H-Town guy. Like they're like where a lot of these guys are minted the original character and they just embody the hell out of it, and like they just make it their brand, and whatever. Cool. And kind of just like they're the maxi of the whatever in the community. A few people like that, but then there is people who are just holding on to it because they know it's the fucking you know, a top trait, like the kind.
Yeah.
There, some of them have two different traits or two different characters for each trait. There's a kind warrior, for example. Obviously, kindness is a big one, where people are just holding it just because it's that. And then there's people who, you know, maybe not a fault, forgot about it, but people like Logan Paul, for example, who just like has a gift goat who might not need to sell it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit mix of both. There's a lot of people though who are really, and I think that's why VeFriends is one of the few projects that haven't reached all-time lows. You know, Pudgy and all them are just reaching kind of all-time lows. VeFriends is still above that 0.7 floor, and that's because they're getting true collectors that are collecting the actual NFTs and love the characters, and they're holding on to it just because of the character.
Yeah. For my, let me know if you have any crazy people like this. So I'm a big Nintendo guy. Who say they're Zelda, Mario, Yoshi, Kirby, got Donkey Kong throwing a Pokeball. No stranger to it. When I started doing the Cat comic and I took ownership of the Cat Chronicles IP, and I went hard on it, and I got the Cat tattoo.
Yeah.
Do we have people that have these, like, any VeFriends tattoos?
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, of course.
I think Nos Clint might know what I'm gonna say. You're gonna, dude, that's so funny. Nos, where the f is her profile? If Nos comments right now, the chick's profile, just tell me.
Yeah, he's got the. Well, I mean, he commented on X though.
Okay.
So I don't know if you could.
Her name's her name's Carly, but what's her fucking account? Hold on, just give me a second.
Yeah. So,
but yes, there's definitely people who have multiple tattoos. Hold on. Where is she? Oh, hold on. Damn. Let me know if Nas is in here and he comments on it still. That's so funny. Let's see.
Yeah, I've seen Nosklin comment before. I think he was in VeVe.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. But it's great to see that he's got, you know, I'm glad to see. It makes me a little melancholy, I guess, when I see people, and you like what you like, you can't really help that. But when I see people get like almost like emotionally attached to some of these projects, or like I know they're not going to make it, and they just, like, you know, people put like some of their heart and souls into like trying to support the project, try to defend the floor. It's like I don't see a path of success for this. So when people are into other stuff that I think really has a great future, like VeFriends, like Moonbirds, I've seen Chimpers and Claynosaurs, and I don't know anything really about Chimpers or Claynosaurs, but I know they've got some momentum and they've got a community, and it's like, you know what, maybe like that's possible. But it's just, I've seen some people, I guess user 0026VF.
User, wait, what is it?
Oh, I don't, he said 0026VF. I don't know if that helps you, if he was trying to. Oh, no, it's been still in VeVe. Let's get that bread. Meow, meow.
But anyways, there's this chick, shout out to her. Her name Carly, I think, dude, and she has, I kid you not, her entire body tatted with VeFriends characters. I wish I could show you this right now. It's
do we know her? Well, we could, like, she has an X account, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now. I see somebody else posted her, but I'm trying to find her actual account. But yeah, dude, it's incredible. She has, dude, I don't know how many
characters. Is it Carly Comtar? Carly, aka Comtar?
How do you say that? Did you find it yourself?
Is it this?
Here, let me see.
Does she have a World of Women PFP? Probably not.
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think maybe I'm getting her name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Carly. But anyway, yeah, I hopefully somebody can send it. But yeah, shout out to her. She has, like, I don't know how many, her whole body tatted with it. It's pretty crazy.
Carly Ann McConnell?
Maybe tattoos. Maybe it's, her name's not Carly. I don't know.
Her name's Carly. Are we sure her name's Carly?
Let's see. Oh, here, VeFriends memes. Is this her? Why is it?
Ow, my back.
Interesting.
Is her name Raiders Chica?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But I'm typing in VFriends tattoos. I'm surprised it's not. She's not coming up. She should be first on here. Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I see the photo. Oh my God. Yeah. So that's the pic, right?
Yeah. Oh, is this? I think she made another page called VFriends memes, and that's her. And it's just
I
like she's
see that. Yeah.
yeah. So or maybe it's a Patient Piggy. Is that her now? I don't know. Yeah, I think it is her. But yeah, you see, it's pretty impressive.
So cool.
Are you showing it on there? I'm not even looking.
I was before. She had a bunch of them on her upper chest, neck tattoos.
Crazy.
Oh, I like these little bees, macro bee and micro bee. And there's a
Yeah.
wise wasp. He seems cool.
Yeah, there's macro, micro, and there's Gary B, which is like the Gary's fucking character, you know, and whatever in the VFriends.
Oh, she looks like a fun time to party with.
Yeah, definitely.
I could picture, so in in the VeVe get-togethers, there's like these two sides. Like you have the David and Dan, like the owners, and they kind of chill with everyone, and you have like the very PG rated, like, hey, let's all play poker, let's all play charades, let's all do karaoke. And I love karaoke. I love the shit out of karaoke. Especially when I get drunk. But then you have like some of the R-rated people, like people that just like came in from finance and just like they like rated our superstar it up, and we go hard. We like there's I vaguely remember in Vegas last time taking a limo and doing Snapchats and stripping, and it was like is there the two types of that in VFriends, or does everyone be like, hey, when you're at the VFriends meetup, tone it down, be chill, representing, you know, a brand here? Or is it like some people go crazy in that X-rated chapter?
Like at the like different events for like NFT events.
Like at like VCon or any VFriends meetup.
100%. So a lot of the meetups the last few years have been centered around like the National Card Convention or the Comic-Con or different stuff that VFriends is involved in. There's a few other comics conventions around. There hasn't been a VCon in a few years, but yeah, usually the VCon, the VFriends community tends to lean towards like, dude, I'm 31 and I kid you not, there's a couple people in their 20s, but I'm maybe in the top 5 youngest people, like in the, you know, actual core community. It's usually tends to lean more towards 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Back in NFT days, it was different, right? When the speculation was around, there was definitely younger people, but it seems like when it started, the cards and stuff, NFTs kind of died down for a bit. Cards and collecting and stuff, it's a lot of an older crowd. So you'll see there's not a lot of maniacs and you know, crazy people, but there's definitely a good time. There's after, you know, parties and stuff too. But it seems like I don't know. It seems like naturally people kind of carried themselves well. I haven't seen anybody do any of the crazy stuff. But again, I haven't been to the VCons. I'm sure, you know, there's some wild shit.
Well, I was in the VCon I went to. I was with 2 upstanding gentlemen, and you know, like the craziest, like we went out for like steaks and drinks and like that was it. Like which is fine. I love that. They're great friends. I love them. And they but yeah, you didn't want to like act a fool around the upstanding, like people, like important people, you know.
No, it's interesting though. Like the first event, I'll tell you, the first event I went to last year where I met Gary for the first time was in the Gift Goat event in Super Bowl Sunday. So they had Gary goes to all the Super Bowls, but in New Orleans, he was at the Super Bowl, so they threw an event at this bar the day before, so anybody could come out. And the Gift Goats it was for Gift Goats, those 500 people that had it, but then they sold it to the access to other people, and yeah, it was in a bar, and there were definitely people drinking and like Gary and stuff too, just like having wine and stuff. Didn't see anything like too insane, but there's definitely like alcohol and like actual party, that's what's cool about VeFriends is like you're actually close with the team and even Gary himself a lot.
That's good. Apparently VeFriends are very family friendly, which is a lot of what the official VeVe meetups are, but at nighttime. I feel like that song is like, I'm at the treadmill 9 to 5. That's like when
like Nas said, a lot of people with kids and yeah, like even the Texas meetup they just had. And Texas meetup is like a community event that they had in Texas that a community member, Ben Kind, and a few others they held. And even at that one, there was a lot of kids from what I saw too. So yeah, very family friendly. But yeah, no, there's definitely events like that, after parties and stuff too, where it's
I mean, don't get me wrong. I can turn on the family friendly. Again, Nintendo all the way. Can totally play Nintendo Switch with the kids and kick their butts in Mario Party and Super Smash Brothers. I will pwn kids in Super Smash Brothers. My jam. Oh, yeah. So I had well, he wasn't on the podcast yet. Tad was talking about, so he knows Raul Paul and I think like Beeple. I assume Gary knows Adam Weitzman? Is he in VeFriends?
Yeah, Adam bought the rare robot spec.
Awesome. Yeah, because he's like in a bunch of NFT projects, and I feel like he's just like tip of the iceberg. There's gonna be a ton of people coming into NFTs just like him in that network. And again, the more billionaires you have in your project, like the better. Like that's huge. So he has, you said a rare robot?
Yeah, I don't know how many other he bought, but like, yeah, the one he bought was a spec rare robot probably a couple months ago. But yeah, Adam's cool. I think it's interesting to see someone like him, a billionaire, coming in right now, just a real big believer in the NFTs.
I have his tequila.
Oh, that's his? Nice.
Yeah, this is pretty dope. I plan to have it with him when he comes on the podcast, but he's quite busy. So I drank half of it before. So but I'll save the rest for when he actually comes on.
Nice. Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When's the next VeFriends meetup?
I know the next official kind of thing is the San Diego TCG event, but that's not until July. Yeah. It's actually interesting. The last week or 2 weeks ago, actually, all of a sudden this guy Burge in the community, he drops this podcast and he's like, oh, Gary's announces VCon in Miami in October. And he posts this podcast where Gary's at this, at this thing in Miami as well, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, like right before the podcast came out. And he was talking about, join us in Miami. We're going to have a VCon open to the public this time, in October. We hope you all get there. And then Gary comments under the thing and he says, actually, there's like a misunderstanding here, or something like, I don't know exactly what he said, but he said it's actually unlikely to happen this year. Like, we'll announce, there's nothing to announce yet. And so it was kind of confusing. Nobody knows exactly what happened. Maybe I'll probably just some miscommunication. But it was crazy. For 5 or 10 minutes, we thought there was a VCon in Miami in 2020, in October in 2026. Now, is there something there? Usually there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe it's not at the actual VCon and it's like some smaller event. I could think that's probably, if I had to guess, what's going on, but that's just speculation. But I do think what they're probably going to start to do is there is going to be another VCon, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start having smaller events every couple months, maybe attached to other events, but just kind of smaller stuff, more often. Yeah,
that's what they're doing VeVe right now. They were just at C2E2 and WonderCon and something else. And so it's easier to piggyback off the bigger events that are happening and just meet up there. And then it's good for the community too, because if, let's say you guys are at San Diego Comic-Con and you just show up with like 50 people, rolling in deep, all with VeFriends shirts on, and it's like, oh, like, who are they? And then you just get interest in that.
Absolutely. The kind of messed up part about San Diego Comic-Con though, and Clint, I don't know, I'm sure you know this, is that it's the original Comic-Con, right? So it sells out like literally immediately. Yeah. It's like Coachella, it'll fucking sell out immediately. So it's like, and you can't resell them either. So like the people who from VeFriends, if they don't already have one, unfortunately, like people are probably just not gonna be able to get in. So that's why I was saying the TCG event around it, around that same time will be, I think, the actual event. There'll probably be other people who do like other events that live around there, but yeah, the TCG event in around the Comic-Con in July. And then the Chicago National is probably the biggest one, which is like a week after that.
The for San Diego Comic-Con, a lot of times you don't really have to worry about the con itself because it takes over like the whole town. Like it like blocks away, everyone's still in cosplay. So you could just do a meetup there, even if it's not at the actual con. Like you can go in the con as well, but people will be like, hey, can't get tickets in. We're meeting up for appetizers here or drinks here or dancing here, karaoke here.
For sure.
Oh God, I love San Diego so much.
Yeah, no, San Diego's great.
Yeah.
I'm not sure VeFriends themselves will have, because like last year they had at the Orlando comic or Orlando, one of the events in Orlando. Yeah, I think maybe make it. I think it was more of a card one, but could be wrong. Cool. They had an event where you could burn book games, which is their third. You know about book games. It's the third collection where Gary, he like released like this book that he was releasing, and then he made it around the same time the NFTs were out after Series 1, where if you bought 12 of the books, you get this NFT, and then awesome. The book games. But you could essentially burn like 3 of those to get into this party they had in Orlando. Well, they'll probably do stuff like that around San Diego too, I'd imagine.
It's yeah, I can't wait for the meetups. I haven't been to a meetup in a while. Noskin says, when I talked to Kevin last year, San Diego Comic-Con, he said they will do their best to be in the con. I'm hoping, but they will have TCG tournaments off-site in San Diego during the con. Oh, so yeah, best like Hannah Montana in 09, get the best of both worlds. Yep, have you seen that 20th anniversary thing? I haven't seen that yet.
No. Yeah. I heard that's crazy though. She's what's her name is she's said that like having her podcast or whatever recently. I've seen a bunch of clips from that.
Cool. It's a lot. There's Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 2 coming out tomorrow, and then the Mario Brothers movie. Can't wait. There's a lot of good entertainment on.
Here than this guy, Jeff. That's one thing up. Live here at $1. Do a spin 2, keep 1 here, get in here.
Is that a Whatnot live stream?
What's up, Bren? How are you? Hit in your
chat.
1 second.
Sorry about that.
Here on the table.
I'm just gonna try to figure out what it was.
No, something. I got tagged in something. I was pulling it up. I didn't realize how loud it was. It's Whatnot. Are you familiar with Whatnot at all?
Yeah. That's what I thought it was. I was like, oh, is it a Whatnot live stream? And it was.
What do you do on Whatnot? Do you with the Pokemon and all that, or?
Oh, I probably should. I have an account to buy stuff. I'm just such a consumer now. I don't do any selling on Whatnot. I probably should. I just don't. But actually, that's where I got the Jolly Jacko thing. That is from the Gary V Whatnot Live.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, Whatnot is crazy. I think, and you already see it with collectibles, but I think live shopping, Gary's just like huge on that. He thinks people ask him, oh yeah, you predicted, TikTok and all these other things. Like what's next? And they'll always say live shopping now.
Yeah.
Because obviously in Asia, which, Asia's leading everything now, dude. K-pop, Labubus, everything's coming out of Asia. They've already had live shopping in China or whatever for a decade. It's the biggest thing, and now it's going to come to the US. So you're going to see it on Facebook, Instagram, X, Whatnot's probably going to be the biggest. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I think when Gary gets a ton of product in from these things, like whatever it is, like he'll have other partnerships because there's only so many of the NFTs, but now that he's doing the stickers and he's doing everything, I feel like eventually, let's say he partners with Figpin or he partners with Funko or whatever he partners with, to do a bunch of merch. Like you obviously have a bunch of humans doing it now, but once those Optimus robots come out from Tesla and they don't sleep, they can do all the packaging, whatever, they do these simple menial tasks. Gary might get to a point where, he's on it maybe like once a day or, a few times a week, but he could just have the people that work for him. They just do 12-hour shifts. They do these live selling. And it never has to stop. He'll become such a cash cow when that happens. He just needs the more physical product first. Like, he's got a bunch of followers, he'll get more, but he needs that product. Once he gets that product out there, I think that live selling, that whatnot, becomes a very big cash cow, and he becomes, it'll be a great revenue service for him.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Because it's just you see like companies like Cool Kicks, for example. I don't know if you know much about shoes or clothes.
I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's like a reselling, one of the biggest reselling, back when shoes used to, like, you could buy them and then they'd resell for a bunch, just kind of when crypto and everything was going crazy in 21. They're like this big reselling store. They made a bunch of content around that, got really big, but now they've transitioned all these huge stores that they'd have in Beverly Hills and all these like crazy areas to literally they're just going on Whatnot now, just literally taking those same shoes and all that stuff that they're reselling, but just people just buy them up. Like, they sell like hundreds of thousands of dollars on each show, to where now you're not even a need brick and mortar type of business, at least for clothes and retail, where most of it will just be sold through live shopping eventually through a lot of businesses, but also average people. So it's pretty crazy.
I can't wait for it. Do you have a few minutes to talk off stream, still on camera, but off air?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, sweet. I was gonna end it here. Is there anything you wanted to go over before we end it here? Because
no, man. I mean, dude, we went over so much. Like you said, dude, I'd be definitely down to do a weekly show or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I think you and I have to just talk for hours, and it was cool to hang out with Clint and stuff too. Him and I haven't really got a chance to talk personally yet, but do definitely need to do that. I think I saw him on the show earlier. Definitely showing support in the post and stuff. I appreciate him. But as far as leaving anything with people, I would just say, I mean, I think we're extremely early, extremely pioneers to crypto, but especially digital collectibles. And I'm just excited to see how it plays out, whether it's a 1, 3, 5, 10-year timeline. I think the world becomes more digital. Crypto becomes a huge thing that it's only natural that, collectibles and every NFTs are kind of the next frontier of collectibles. So I'm excited to talk more on the next stream, and I appreciate everybody for being here. I think the future.
What's the show on Wednesday that Nasquin's talking about? So
so Wednesday, definitely come on Wednesday. I assume he's talking about my show. I do shows, actually. Like I said, I'm a crypto and NFT, connoisseur, but really been going kind of hard on the NFT kind of content the last week or two. But I'm also run crypto and kind of Web3 live streams where I'll go over charts and stuff kind of every Monday and Tuesday. But the show he's talking about is I run a Twitter space with my buddy Hemdog, where first week we had Poppy, this guy from Quirkies. Second week we had the founder from Chimpers. Third week we had Jeremy today, where we're not only just talking to cool people around the NFT kind of collectible space. Again, would love to have you kind of come on and talk with us as well. But also, from all around, and having, cool conversations as well. So that is every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. PST.
Okay. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'm sorry, 7 EST. My bad.
Okay.
Because that was what it was scheduled at. Yeah, on the Twitter.
Okay. So today, because today was I was there for a little bit. Okay, copy that. I will. Yeah.
So
make a note.
EST, 7 EST. Yeah.
Good times.
Thank you for
all right, cool beans. Everyone, thank you for joining. We will have him on again soon. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. And we will talk to you all later.